So how Star Wars is structured, it's five, like 4, 5, and 6 technically released in the 70s and early 80s, right? Then 1, 2, and 3 are released in the late 90s, early 2000s, right? And then right after 1, 2, and 3, you get what happened in between 2 and 3, which was the Clone Wars, and then you
Yeah,
finally get
Star
what
Wars is
happens
another
after.
conjunction of shit
But
that you gotta
but
watch.
somehow, this is where it's crazy. Somehow in their way, it's easy to follow for some reason.
But then again, that's another thing where Star Wars is just an as it goes type of story. It's
Mm-hmm.
not grabbing from any source material. I mean, yeah, they have comics, so now they can grab from source material if they want to, but those comics aren't canon. What's
Mm-hmm.
canon is what you see on television. So
Right.
it's like any books or comics that were Star Wars, like they're not canon. They're just kind of like written as like legends. So it's like they can grab from those, but they're not going to be the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm. Kind of
So
like
it's like,
Star Killer with like his own game. It's
mhm,
legend. It's not canon to the Star
right,
Wars universe that we see.
right. So it's like Star Wars doesn't necessarily have a long line uh of source material to grab from.
Right.
Uh, it's just kind of just going, you know.
How it's gonna be in somebody's imagination. Like Dave Filoni can say, you know what? All of a sudden, raise a Sith.
Right.
We're not like there's no way of explaining it right now, but when I drop this movie, raise a Sith.
Right. I mean, they can literally write anything.
Yeah,
So it's like
they can write
they,
that
they
Anakin comes
control
back.
yeah, that's the thing about the Star Wars universe is that it can just be controlled any which way.
Yeah.
I mean, Marvel's the same way. Marvel's the same way. They can control the narrative whichever way they want, but they're not just randomly writing stories. They're grabbing from the source material and then adapting it as their own. And that's the hard thing for people to understand too, is that adapting is not the same as what's the word? I can't think of the word.
Uh, uh, What's the synonym for it?
It's like copying it word for word, right? So it's not like they're literally doing 616 from the comics, right? Because if
Right.
that's the case, we would have got an accurate Civil War storyline. We would have got an accurate
Age of
Infinity War
Ultron.
storyline,
Yeah.
Age of Ultron, stuff like that. If it followed 616, the exact same formula, everything would have been the exact same, which is infinitely harder to do live action, right?
Right. Because these guys, they're old. They would have to play until they're like 70 for the story to be complete, or at least to where it's at right now.
And that's the thing about some fans is like they expect that type of those type of iterations on screen, right? They
Mm-hmm.
expect 100% accuracy. They expect everything to be comic accurate. They expect every story to be comic accurate,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like it's that's not that entertaining if you think about it, because if you've read all these comics, right, and you know how this story plays out, that means you know exactly how it's going to play out on screen. If that's the case,
You'd be
if
bored out of your mind already.
you already know what's going to happen, you've already spoiled it for yourself. Because why? Because it's you've read that story already.
Because
You
it's
know that,
accurate.
right?
Yeah.
Because it's 100% accurate. If that was the case,
Mm-hmm.
so MCU being adapted comics
Mm-hmm.
is where people need to get that into their head,
Mm-hmm.
because no shit, stuff like Silver Surfer being a woman, Pedro Pascal being, Mr. Fantastic, stuff like that that's pissing everybody off right now or whatever. It's like it's not 100% accurate to the MCU. Do I
Mm-hmm.
agree with all of it? No, not really. I mean, but does that matter? Not really either, as long as the story is good. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I would like to see a regular Silver Surfer. This could be part of the multiverse saga thing, because there is a female Silver Surfer in a different universe. Who knows? We are in the multiverse saga. It's very annoying.
Yeah, anything's
Um,
possible. What you did remind me of is what you seen that video going around of Stan Lee when he's like, I hate when people ask me who would win in a fight, the Hulk or Spider-Man, right? And he's like, when I get that answer, it's like I don't know. However, the writer wants to do it. He's like,
right.
if the thing is written to kill all the Avengers, then that's how the writer wrote it, and there is somehow some way that the writer can write that the Thing from the Fantastic Four can kill the Avengers. So it's like the writer has the greatest power to say who wins and who loses.
Right. Which is where the writing kind of falls into play, where it came with like Hulk and Thanos in the MCU, where like everybody expected Hulk to just beat the shit out of Thanos, right?
But
Obviously,
he gets mopped
yeah. Then he gets freaking mollywopped.
in like 2 minutes.
But they never bring him back. They never bring Hulk back to get his look again. They never come back for round 2, and it's like that type of writing. It's like,
Oh, if we got round 2.
It always just depends. Because I mean, if I had the choice, I would have made Hulk fight again. He'd probably not succeed because I think he would succeed as close as Scarlet Witch, right? Like she was just about to kill him, but he called for the rainfire. I think if I were writing the Hulk, I would probably do something similar where he's like, really beating the crap out of Hulk. I mean, he's really beating the crap out of Thanos, and Thanos just calls for like some help, or like Cole Obsidian stops Hulk, and they get into a fight. So I think I would have wrote it something like that. But again, it's always on the writers. It's always going to be different.
They got that weird power. They got plot. The writers create the plot armor for the people.
Right.
So.
Right. Because if you think realistically, Iron Man should have fucking died a while ago.
He should have died. I mean, to be honest, how it was going in Infinity War when he got stabbed, Thanos could have just said, boom, right there. He stabbed him, and he could have just crushed his freaking head like a grape.
Right.
But again, they wrote Thanos to be like, technically, Thanos doesn't want to really kill anybody, right? Once he gets the stones, he gets the stones. He doesn't really care, And once he wipes out half the population, it's all fine, But also, that kind of raises a question a little bit.